For today's project, let's head down to the Dollar Tree. We need to grab us some plastic bowls. We also need a 4-inch piece of pipe from the hardware store.
I'm Mitch from the YouTube channel Goodly Earth, and you're watching Hometalk.
Lay you down a wood base. It can be square or round, and yes, that is a toilet flange. We're going to put that upside down and mark out the holes. First thing we're going to do is pre-drill it. That's going to keep our wood from splitting and makes the screws go in easy. Once you get that done, put the toilet flange back in place. Grab you some 1-inch screws and go ahead and put it in. Just like that. Once it gets nice and secure, next step, we're going to go ahead and grab us some ABS glue. That's what's going to help secure the pipe to the toilet flange. Just glue one end, wrap it all the way around just like that, and then you're going to stick it into the base. Give it a nice firm shove. Let's mix up some concrete now. We want to make sure that we get it nice and thick, but not too thin or too runny. Once we're going to do that is put it in our first bigger size bowl. Just keep putting it in. But I forgot to mention, we do need to spray this bowl and our next one with some non-stick cooking spray. You're going to love it next time because it's easy to remove. Go ahead and put it in there. Shove it down into the concrete just like that. Not all the way though. We just want to get it in there and get it secure. Now, these do want to come out when you put them in. So I grabbed a pint of paint and just put it in there for some weight, and we're going to let it dry. But let's take some of that leftover concrete and we're going to put it into that pipe. We want to make this a little heavy and add some weight to it, and it also gives it nice and firm foundation. Once the concrete's too full there, go ahead and take you a popsicle stick and make it level. Now, work that bowl a little bit around the edge and see why we sprayed it. Look at that. Comes right out. No cracking or anything. On the big bowl, just work it yourself around just like that. Turn it over. Watch this. It's going to come out so easy. Boom. Just like that. In fact, it was so good on the concrete mix that it kind of made a little bit of the designs there. But don't worry. We don't care about those. Now, turn it back over. What we're going to do is go back to our base and we're going to put on some concrete adhesive or any kind of construction glue. That's going to go ahead and go upside down, and we're going to glue that into the top concrete that we got out of the bowl. Once we get that nice and secure in there, just immediately add a little bit more Portland cement. Just put it in and around. The glue's going to hold it in, and then this is going to be a little bit of a base, and it's going to go around the edges. Don't worry if it's messy. We're going to see it's okay. Once we get that done, mix up your last batch of concrete. We're going to take it and just start mixing it all the way around on the base. We want to cover the toilet flange and the pipe. Now, it can be messy because it's going to be the stem of our mushroom. Just go ahead and put it all the way around, up and down. Just make it whatever design you think will look right. We're going to let this all dry, and once it is, we're going to take it outside and give it some paint. I went with the red top and a nice coat of spray paint. Now, it's going to take a couple of coats, which is fine. We're going to spray the top red, and then we're going to spray the base gray. Once we get that done, let's put it in place and finish painting it. And watch this. And here it is, our new concrete garden mushroom. Oops, I actually almost forgot. We got to add our Nomi the Gnome. What a wonderful addition to the front of the house. I hope you love this new concrete DIY mushroom, and I hope it inspired you to try to build your own.
I hope you enjoyed that last episode, but don't hit the stop button yet. First, subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and stay tuned. We got another one coming right up.
So I've come back from the thrift store with a few items, and now I'm going to clean them up. Next, I'm just going to make some soapy water to clean the items. So I don't want any tags, so I'm going to mostly get them in there so I can soak these tags off. Now sometimes they peel off easy, but a lot of times they tear. And with just a little soaking, you clean them and can remove these labels really easily. So I'm gonna let these soak for about 10 minutes. So from here, I'm gonna also wash them. But as you can see, sometimes the stickers just fall off on their own. So here's this sticker, and see how it just peels right off. So I'll finish washing these all up and then we'll let them dry. For this first one, I'm going to be using Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint. You'll want to be careful when choosing your paint depending upon where you're placing your item to. So you'll want to check the back instructions to be notified if it's good and safe for outdoors or indoors only. So I could leave this green, but I've decided I kind of want it to be white. So I'm gonna just go ahead and paint it white. I don't need to paint the bottom, and I'm gonna leave this side. I don't need to worry about this either. So don't worry about top, bottom, or inside. But this will be the top that we're focusing on for this one. So the open hole will go on the bottom. So while this cup is drying, we're gonna use the plate. I'm gonna flip it upside down. And I've got a stencil brush here, and I'm gonna go ahead and dip it into the paint, but then I'm gonna offload a little bit of it here on the side because I wanna have some flexibility. I want it to be coated, but I want it to be a little speckly too because I'm about texture. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a little dot there by just pouncing the brush. And you can make these as big or as small as you want. And then when you run out of paint, you just add a little bit more. Again, I want it to be coated on all of it, but I like the texture. So then next, I just go ahead and continue around making some circles, and you can swirl them a little if you want or pounce them. It's really up to you. Now that these are both painted, I'm gonna let them dry completely before the next step with these, and we'll move on to a different one. For this next one, we're going to be using Pledge Floor Care Cleaner finish. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour some of the Pledge Floor Cleaner into the glass vase to start. And so what I do now is I swirl the glass carefully so that it's all coated by the Pledge Floor Cleaner. So I'm gonna keep going around. So I'm gonna get all the drips out here. Carefully. Sticky, sticky stuff. All right, next what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use some snowy glitter, just white glitter. I'm gonna take the lid off and I'm gonna dump a healthy amount in here because the excess I can put back in the bottle with this type of project. So I'm gonna place the glitter aside, and now is the fun part. Now we start swirling the vase and the glitter to coat it all the way around. And if you need more glitter, you get more glitter. But as I tip around here, I'm gonna tip the excess off and back on to the bottom and give it a little tap. Now here it is, and now I'm gonna let it dry completely before moving on to the next step. And this I can pour back in for another time. So I just place it over here on the edge, give it a little fold, and pour it all right back in there. Next, I'm gonna use some green glitter. Same process. I'm gonna go ahead and pour a healthy amount in there so I can put it back in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and swirl all the way around the bowl. And then as I get to the edge, I'm gonna go ahead and finish by dumping it out after I get it all coated. And here it is, and I did miss a spot there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle some on. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let this dry as well. Now, I could leave this as is, but we're gonna add another layered look to it, and I'm gonna be using Folk Art enamel paint in the color Wicker White. As you can see here, it's safe for glass. So again, checking the instructions to make sure that things will stick to glass because sometimes they don't. So this is a good one for this. So just like before, using my stencil brush, I'm gonna dip it into the paint, and then I'm gonna get some of it back off of here. And then I'm gonna start by just going at the top, creating a little circle. And then you can, again, use smaller brushes if you want, or bigger. And then just going around and making some random circles on it as I go. So let me finish this up and then we'll move on. For this last one, I'm gonna leave them plain. Now remember, this could be crystal or glass that you find at the thrift store as well. These are plastic, so they could go inside or out. But again, same concept works for either. So you can just leave them plain. They look beautiful left alone as well. So we're gonna start with the cup, and I'm gonna choose to have it go up and upside down. And then you wanna make sure to put gloves on to protect your hands while we're putting all of these together. And then you also make sure you have a ventilated area when working with adhesives, depending upon what kinds you're going to use. So if it's going to be inside, you could easily use hot glue because that's a controlled temperature. If it's going to go outside, you'll want to use something like silicone, or you can use 6000, or you can use super glue, which that's what I'm going to start with for this one, is super glue. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the edge all the way around, like so. And then you place it on top, and because it takes a little bit to set, you've got a little time to dry. So I'm gonna let this one dry, and we'll start adhering the other ones. Now, depending upon the glue that you use, dry times will vary. And for this one, the same thing. So you just add glue at the top, all the way around. And the reason I do it on the vase instead, or the attachment, the bottom, is sometimes if you do the top, the contact isn't met. So now we take the top, and it's a little hard to see what I'm doing, but I'm gonna place it right on there, and you can center it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry completely as well. And for the last one, the same thing, going around the edge, and then I carefully place the plate on top, and I'm gonna let that dry. Here they are, all ready for spring, and I can't wait to put them in my garden. I hope this inspires you to take some thrift store items and flip them for your home and yard. Again, I'm Chas from Chas's Crazy Creations. Thanks for watching Home Talk, and I'll see you next time.